Every night while you sleep, something irreversible may be happening to your eyes. Not dramatically, not all at once, quietly, cell by cell. Most people never feel it happening. They just notice the signs later. Headlights stretching into halos, words blurring together by evening, eyes burning, aching, struggling to focus in low light. Doctors often shrug and call it aging. Pharmacies call it a lifetime customer. But what if that explanation is incomplete? What if the real danger is not what you see during the day, but what your eyes fail to repair at night? Because sleep is not rest for your vision. Sleep is when your eyes are supposed to heal. Inside the retina, microscopic cells are meant to renew themselves after sunset. Damaged light receptors should be replaced. Inflammation should calm. Blood flow should increase. Yet for millions of adults, especially after 40, that repair process quietly shuts down. And when it does, vision loss is no longer gradual, it becomes cumulative. Each night without proper repair adds another invisible layer of damage, another morning of dryness, another evening of strain, another step closer to losing the ability to drive at night, read comfortably, or recognize faces across a room. This is why vision loss steals independence before it steals sight. It arrives disguised as inconvenience, then fear. What makes this even more disturbing is that the shutdown is not random. It is influenced by what enters your body in the final hours before sleep. Not supplements, not prescriptions, not procedures that cost thousands, but something far more ordinary, something most people already have access to, yet use at the worst possible time or not at all. And once you understand what happens to your eyes between midnight and dawn, and why certain nutrients can either activate repair or silently block it, you begin to realize that the difference between sharper vision and irreversible decline may come down to what you do in the quiet window before you turn off the light and drift into sleep, when your body is preparing for a process that either restores your eyesight or allows it to fade. Because the most powerful opportunity is happening right then, and almost no one has ever explained what to do before it's too late, especially when the damage has already begun and the clock is still moving while you lie there, unaware that your eyes are waiting for one critical signal that never arrives unless you know exactly what triggers it and why it must happen before your head touches the pillow and your body slips into that first deep cycle where everything finally slows down and the repair should begin, but instead it doesn't because something is missing, and that missing piece is the reason your vision keeps getting worse even though you swear you're doing everything right. And the truth is that the most important part has been hiding in plain sight this whole time, and it all starts with what you consume before bed, when the body decides whether your eyes are worth repairing or not. And once you hear what happens next, you'll never look at your nightly routine the same way again, because the real danger begins when.
Because the body follows a strict biological schedule, and your eyes are bound to it whether you realize it or not. About 90 minutes after you fall asleep, blood flow shifts, the brain quiets, muscles release, and something remarkable happens behind your eyes. The retina becomes metabolically active. This is when damaged light-sensing cells signal for repair. This is when antioxidants are pulled from the bloodstream into ocular tissue. This is when inflammation is supposed to shut down and micro tears in delicate retinal vessels are meant to seal. But here's the part no one tells you. If the raw materials are not already available in your system before sleep begins, the repair window closes, not partially, completely. Your body does not pause and wait, it moves on. Instead of restoration, your eyes enter conservation mode. They stop fixing damage and focus only on surviving until morning. That is when vision decline accelerates. Science has shown that certain nutrients are only transported into the retina during deep sleep. Not during the day, not after breakfast, not even during dinner, only at night. This is why so many people take eye supplements faithfully and still watch their vision worsen. The timing is wrong, the form is wrong, and the body simply ignores what arrives too late. Researchers studying age-related vision loss discovered something unsettling. Two people can eat the same foods, take the same supplements, and follow the same advice. One maintains stable eyesight for decades. The other declines rapidly. The difference is not genetics, it is circadian timing. When specific compounds enter the bloodstream close to bedtime, they pass through a temporary gateway that opens between the blood and the retina during sleep. That gateway closes by morning. Miss it and the nutrients never reach the cells that need them most. This explains why night driving becomes difficult first, why glare sensitivity increases, why dry eyes worsen after sunset, why reading at night feels exhausting even when prescriptions are up to date. Those are not random symptoms. They are warning signals that overnight repair is failing. And here's what makes this urgent. Once certain retinal cells die, they do not regenerate easily. The body needs repeated nightly support to slow or reverse the process before it becomes permanent. The good news is that science also identified something unexpected. Specific whole foods eaten in precise forms and at specific times can reactivate this repair cycle even in older adults. Not all foods, not eaten anytime, not prepared casually. The difference between benefit and failure comes down to details most people never learn. Details that determine whether nutrients reach the eye or are wasted entirely. And when used correctly, these foods do not just slow decline, they help restore function that was thought to be lost. This is why the order matters, why timing matters, why preparation matters, and why starting with the wrong choice can quietly cancel the effect of everything else. Because among these foods, some barely nudge the repair process, while others flip the switch entirely. And once you understand which ones truly matter and how they work together overnight, you begin to see why starting at the bottom and working up is the only way to safely awaken the system without overwhelming it, especially when your eyes have been struggling for years and the damage is already layered and the body needs to relearn how to heal instead of just endure, which is why the first step is not the most powerful one, but the one that prepares your eyes to respond so that when the stronger signals arrive later, they can actually do their job and begin restoring what has been quietly slipping away night after night until now.
Because restoration does not happen all at once. It happens in layers, the same way the damage did. The eyes respond best when they are eased back into repair, not shocked. That is why the daily application matters more than dramatic changes. The first shift is not about adding something exotic. It is about removing interference. Heavy sugar late at night spikes insulin and restricts blood flow to the retina. Alcohol blocks the transport of protective antioxidants during deep sleep. Late caffeine fragments REM cycles, cutting the repair window in half. When those are reduced, even before adding anything new, many people notice the first sign that healing has restarted. Morning dryness softens. The gritty feeling fades faster. Light sensitivity eases. Then the body becomes ready for rebuilding materials. Certain whole foods contain compounds that act like instructions, not just fuel. They tell retinal cells when to regenerate. They signal blood vessels to widen. They reduce the inflammatory noise that keeps the eye in survival mode. These foods must be eaten close enough to bedtime that their nutrients are circulating when sleep deepens, but far enough away that digestion does not disrupt rest. For most people, that window is between 45 and 90 minutes before sleep. The simplest place to start is with foods that support low light vision and tear production. Naturally colored roots, deep orange or gold, gently cooked and paired with healthy fats, provide precursors the retina uses to rebuild night vision proteins. When eaten consistently in the evening, they supply the eyes with what they need to see clearly after dark again. From there, fatty foods from clean sources begin repairing structure. The retina is made largely of fat, and without the right kind, cells thin and weaken. When these fats arrive during sleep, the body uses them to replace worn photoreceptors rather than burning them for energy. People often report that after a few weeks of this step, Glare softens, streetlights sharpen, screens feel less aggressive. Next comes protection. Dark-colored berries and richly pigmented foods deliver compounds that accumulate in the macula like internal sunglasses. They filter damaging light before it can cause further harm. During sleep, these pigments are laid down layer by layer. This is when reading comfort improves, eye fatigue decreases, contrast becomes clearer. Finally, there are foods that increase circulation itself. They help oxygen and nutrients reach areas that have been starved for years. Without this step, repair is limited. With it, healing accelerates. The most important part is consistency, not quantity. The eyes respond to repeated nightly signals. One perfect night does little. 2 weeks of steady support can begin measurable change. And there is a sequence to follow, starting gently, building capacity, then activating deeper repair. Skipping ahead often leads to disappointment because the system is not ready. But when applied in the right order, the process feels almost effortless, as if the body remembers how to do what it was designed to do all along. This is why many people are shocked when vision begins improving without new prescriptions, why night driving feels safer again, why they stop fearing the sunset. Because once the repair cycle is awake, the eyes stop deteriorating quietly in the dark and instead begin using sleep the way it was always meant to be used, which brings everything to the final step where understanding how to maintain these gains and protect them long-term becomes just as important as activating them in the first place, especially if you want the changes to last and not fade once old habits return, and the body needs one final reminder of why this matters and how to keep your vision working for you instead of slipping away again.
Because protecting what you restore is what determines whether this becomes a turning point or just a brief improvement. Vision does not decline overnight, and it does not return overnight either. But once repair restarts, the trajectory changes. The eyes stop losing ground. Then they begin reclaiming it. What matters most now is honoring the nightly window that made the difference in the first place. Consistent sleep timing, calm evenings, foods that support repair instead of blocking it. This is how independence is preserved quietly, without fear or urgency. How confidence returns behind the wheel after dark. How reading becomes comfortable again. How faces look sharp instead of washed out by glare. Many people expect vision loss to be a one-way road. It does not have to be. The body wants to heal. The eyes want to repair. They just need the right signals at the right time. And once you understand that sleep is not passive, but the most active healing period your eyes ever get, you stop treating nighttime like the end of the day and start seeing it as the beginning of recovery. This is not about perfection. It is about awareness. Even small changes repeated nightly compound into meaningful protection, and for many, real improvement. If this changed the way you think about your eyes, take a moment to support the channel by liking the video, sharing it with someone who might need it, and subscribing so you do not miss future guidance that could protect your health. Your vision carries every memory you will ever see. Guard it while you still can.